This light, easy, and delicious meal is perfect for summer. We've got shrimp, leeks, tomatoes, roasted corn, and you can serve it on pasta, rice, or even with some crusty bread. It's your choice. The first thing we have to do is get the leeks cooking. So I've got half a cup of butter. I'm using Earth Balance. You can use unsalted real butter if you can eat dairy. And I've got about a teaspoon of salt here, some garlic, and of course the leeks. If you've never used leeks before, you really only use the small part on the end, which is either white or really light green. You cut the end off, you cut off the stalks, then you cut them in half and make sure you run them under water. Many times there's a lot of dirt in the leeks. And texture is great in a dish, but not when it comes from dirt. I've got the sliced leeks in here, so now I'm gonna go put it on the stove for about 15-20 minutes on low. What we wanna do is obviously melt the butter in here and then soften the leeks. And then the leeks are gonna join everybody else in the pan later on. The shrimp is the star of the show, obviously, and we want to get a little salt and pepper on here so it has some flavor. So I'm just going to put a pinch full of salt and a pinch full of pepper and try to kind of mix it up. No shrimp out of the pan. Okay, so it's ready to go. And the second star of the show, call it maybe a supporting cast member, is the corn. Now this is not frozen corn. This corn originally was on the cob. You're going to want to use fresh corn. It's going to be the most flavorful. It's going to have the best bite. It's just going to be so much better. And frozen corn is going to bring all this moisture to the party that you do not want. So cut it off the cob, put it in a bowl, and you're good to go. No other prep needed. We're going to do something magical with it in the cast iron skillet. Next up, the tomatoes. So I've got about 2 cups of cherry tomatoes. The multicolored ones are the best, but if you can't get them, the red ones will be fine. So what we're going to do here is put in some red wine vinegar and some salt. And what this is going to do is it's going to break down the tomatoes a little bit, soften them, and it's going to bring out some moisture, and it's going to help make a sauce for our shrimp and corn and leeks. So I've added some neutral oil to my cast iron skillet, and I'm about to put the corn in. What we want to do is heat it through and give it a little bit of color. So I cooked it in the pan for 2 or 3 minutes or so, and then I went in there with a spatula and I flattened it all out because I want to get a little bit of color, but not a ton of color. So I've done that, and now I'm going to check and see what kind of color I got. Oh, look at that. There we go. That's just, you don't want it to look like it was roasting forever and it's a totally different color, just a little bit. Now that I've flipped it and mixed it, I've flattened it back out, and we're going to give it another couple minutes to get just a little bit more color on. Now it's time to get the shrimp in the pan. The shrimp's not going to take very long to cook. You want to just cook it until it's pink. Now we're using Argentinian pink shrimp, so it's a little deceptive. When is it really, pink that it's done or pink because it's pink? The best way to tell if your shrimp is done is they start curling up. When they do that, you're good to go. Shrimp are done. We're ready to get everybody else into the pan. Got my leeks. All the juice, all the butter, everything goes into the pan. Now I've turned off this pan because we're not cooking anymore, we're just combining. And now we're going to add the tomatoes and all their delicious juices to the pan. Okay. The last step we have is to garnish with some fresh basil. Okay, so you have a few different ways you can serve this. I love the presentation of taking the entire cast iron skillet, put it in the middle of the table, and letting everybody scoop in either whatever they want. You could also have pasta on the side. They could put it on pasta or rice or the crusty bread. Or if you really wanted to, you could make a salad out of it. That would probably be the last thing I would do, but I might try it because it could be interesting. So let me show you how I'd serve the pasta. Okay, so I've got some gluten-free pasta. You use regular pasta if you like. I have to go gluten-free. So let's get a little bit of pasta here. This is a light and fresh dish, so I don't want to use a lot of pasta. Just a little bit to add a little bit more depth to it. So it's more of a dinner dish. So I'm going to scoop out some of the mixture here. I'm going to take more shrimp because I would want mine to be shrimp heavy. Oh, wow, that looks great. And then I'm going to add a little bit, try and find the smallest little leaves here, little bits of basil. Whoopsie. Okay, now it's pretty. And look at that. That is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful summer dish that you're going to love, your family's going to love, your guests going to love, everybody's going to love it. Or, again, serve it this way. Plate, no plate, however you want to do it. And if you're thinking about, ooh, I think a good white wine would go with this, you know, because it is shrimp, we are going to be eating this with a Argentinian Tarantus. Not an Italian Tarantus, an Argentinian, made by Piatelli, which is my new favorite winemaker at the moment. They make a Malbec, they make a Rosé, all amazing. We haven't tried this yet, but I know it's going to be amazing. It's light and crisp, and it's going to go perfectly with this dish. I hope you make this, and if you do, let me know in the comments below how much you liked it. Now, there are a few different ways that you could change up this dish, and I just want to mention that. You could actually roast the corn on the cob on a grill and then let it cool down and then take the corn off the cob and then put it in this dish. That would add an extra level of flavor. That real roastedness would be amazing. Or you could do the corn like we did it, and you can go cook the shrimp on the grill, which would give that additional flavor. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. So take this as a baseline, run with it, make it the way you want to make it. Thanks so much for watching. The full recipe is linked in the description below. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. A thumbs up is always welcome. And until next time, happy eating.